There's a new WWE video game published by 2K, created by Saber Interactive, called WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Now let's take it back a few days before we get into what this game is and what it looks like and all that stuff, and let's talk about the last couple of weeks. So on the WWE quarterly call, they announced that there's not going to be a WWE 2K21 this year. That has got to be the first time in a very long time that a game has not come out in this series on a yearly basis. Even when THQ disbanded and they gave all the stuff to 2K, there was still a video game that came out in the interim, which was WWE 2K14. And this is like the very first time in a very long time that we're not going to get a mainstay title in the WWE game series, and instead we're going to get something a little different. Now, of course, after WWE announced on that call that there's not going to be a WWE 2K game this year, people were kind of wondering what's left for us. WWE 2K20 was a complete disaster on every single level. Things at 2K didn't seem to be getting any better from what we were hearing, and there was no way for them to be able to turn this around in a year and make a game any better than WWE 2K20. It just wasn't going to happen. So, of course, with getting all this weird press and stuff, 2K had to come out with something, and that's what they did today, which is the Monday press release. And well, they said a few things. One, of course, they announced this new game that we'll talk about here in a second. They also addressed WWE 2K20, and then they addressed WWE 2K19, and then they said a little bit at the end about Supercard and things like that. So if you guys didn't know this, 2K has made complete staff overhauls. They've let go of a lot of people. They've hired a lot of new people. There's a lot of mixing up going on. 2K20 was not good. And since I assume that they're making some sort of changes here with the game going forward, they're going to need another year to do something. Now, it's funny, if you told me like 7 or 8 years ago that we're going to take a year off from the WWE games to make them better, I think that I would have been in a better place and would have said, yes, that sounds fantastic. It always seems to come down to some time crunch for a reason for why they couldn't get something into the game, and a year off sounds great. But this time we're taking a year off because the game was so f***ing busted that they couldn't get something together, which makes me believe it's a little bit of a different situation than it would have been if we took a year off with Ukes, and instead we're taking a year off with Visual Concepts. To say that I am cautiously optimistic, I actually think that's a good way to put it. Cautiously optimistic is definitely the way I'm going to put it. So 2K got a third-party developer to make this game instead of doing it in-house with Visual Concepts, and they got Saber Interactive to do this game, and they are the people that made NBA 2K Playgrounds. NBA 2K Playgrounds was pretty cool. It was supposed to be like an NBA Jam-inspired game, a little bit more arcade than the NBA 2K series itself, and things like that. So now that I've filled all your heads with information that you probably already knew, let's crack open the code and take a look at this trailer. It's only 25 seconds long here, but in 25 seconds, they show off this crocodile. They show off these punching animations. People on fire. Becky Lynch on fire. So there's gonna be power-ups. Shurikens. DDT 7s. Interesting. And this punch from hell. So NBA 2K Playgrounds was not a $60 game, and that leads me to believe that this will also not be a $60 game. Unless the development was different and they're offering something more than NBA 2K Playgrounds offered, I can't imagine it being $60. As you guys know, I am a huge fan of WWE All Stars, and while I don't think this is the sequel to All Stars, I think it is a spiritual successor is probably the best way to put it. I'm personally a huge fan of this art direction. I think it looks dope. I actually think The Rock looks more like The Rock than he does in WWE 2K20, which is a lot to say here. So a few things from this trailer that I saw, I wanted to talk about really quick. I don't know how long they've had this in the vault. I don't know how long Saber's been working on this or how long they've had this trailer or if what they were going to do with this. But one, they're using the old WWE logos on the turnbuckles. Two, the WWE logo is backwards on the turnbuckles. And three, it's in every damn arena. See, I thought it was going to be like, oh, they have different arenas. There's, you know, maybe the old Attitude Era joint and like the old, you know, the network logo and all that stuff. I thought that's maybe what it was. But then I looked, I'm like, these are all the same turnbuckle. I'm sure that'll get fixed before it releases or whatever. I'm sure WWE would not let them release a game with old assets. So I'm sure that'll get updated if it is an actual thing in the game that needs to be updated, but it's just something that I noticed. And of course, I noticed the crocodiles because they're killing dudes. That's all I asked for, man. I just want to kill people in these games. So it looks like a lot of the stages will have some sort of environmental hazard that you can use. I'm not sure how you use it or whatever the case may be, but you can straight up throw people and kill them. This is pro wrestling. So while it might be a spiritual successor to WWE All Stars, I did not see anything that indicated that you could combo moves together in this trailer. Everything was isolated, right? There was a punch, a shuriken, a DDT, but there was nothing that indicated that you could shuriken somebody in the air and then bring him back down to the DDT or anything like that. You know, I did not see anything like that in here, so I don't know. Obviously, at some point in this, you can pick up some sort of power-up or activate some sort of ability. Charlotte Flair looking like she's radioactive. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. I don't see any blood in this game, you know what I mean? I'm not seeing any chair shots in this game. I'm gonna need to see some light tubes. That would be dope. You know, in WrestleMania 19, you could get a cinder block and throw it at people. You could get a vase and throw it at people. You know, hey, maybe you guys look into that a little bit. I don't know if Saber's ever played WWE WrestleMania 19 or not. Maybe you check that out. I'm not sure if there's even going to be anything other than singles matches, which makes me believe that we're about to get some microtransactions or some DLC releases. I'm thinking in my head like this game will release for maybe $30. There'll be updates that add maybe tag team wrestling or a cage match or something, and then they have to pay for that, or you know, that's what I'm thinking in my head anyways. I hope it's not that way, but I'm thinking it is. You have to pay to unlock wrestlers or something. I'm thinking that's how it is. It is like that in NBA 2K Playgrounds, which a lot of the content was locked behind stuff, so that's something you should, this is speculation, but it's something that maybe should be in the back of your head. So when it comes to Battlegrounds, I am cautiously optimistic. I hope that it's a fun time. It looks like it's a fun time. We'll see if it's a fun time. And when it comes to the rest of this article, they said a few different things here. They said, we released WWE 2K20 last year and it sucked. God, it was bad. And it's still very bad is what I wish they would say, because that is the truth. 2K announced in this article also that they hired a new executive producer at Visual Concepts to overlook the 2K series, which is Patrick Gilmore. And it says here he's worked on Disney's Aladdin on Sega Genesis, Medal of Honor, and Amazon Prime or something. Wasn't Disney Aladdin that game that was hard as fuck for no reason? Was that game? And then anyways, at the end of this article, they say blah, 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 supercards, spend more money. Oh, and some good news. They're going to keep up the WWE 2K19 servers for a little bit longer. Honestly, I think you should keep them up forever. Honestly, if you know, there's no guarantee that 2K22 is going to be, is that what they're going to call it? Are they going to change the name? 2K20, 2K21, there's no 2K22. There's no guarantee that 2K22 is even going to be good. So if you could keep those 19 servers up for a little longer, as in forever, that would be cool. So let's just hope this is not a complete clown fiesta, because I would really, truly like to enjoy some wrestling games that were released in this past decade. Please. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope that you guys did enjoy it. Remember, if you did, leave that thumbs up, subscribe if you guys are not subscribed, and I will check you guys out next time. Appreciate you guys. See you.